Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets and Independent Trading Group, we're very pleased you have joined us for our Blockchain and Digital Assets Conference. The next live presentation is from BULT Blockchain. Please note you can submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings through the Schedule Meetings tab found on the conference platform. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Eric Novoshen, Executive Vice President and Interim CFO of BULT Blockchain, which trades on the OTC markets under the symbol BULT. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. My name is Eric Novoshen. I am the Executive Vice President of BULT Blockchain. BULT Blockchain is one of three publicly traded companies that owns and operates Bitcoin ATMs. The cryptocurrency industry continues to grow at alarming rates, and we expect the growth to continue for the foreseeable future as we are Bitcoin bulls. Currently, there are over 35,000 Bitcoin ATMs in North America, and we are extremely bullish on BULT Blockchain's position in the marketplace. Now, before I go any further, we need to make our attorneys and compliance officer happy. This presentation is confidential and for informational purposes only. This presentation is not and should not be construed as an offer to buy or sell securities. Information provided herein has not been independently verified and should not be relied upon for any investment decisions. This presentation and subsequent discussion or Q&A may contain forward-looking statements based upon current assumptions, which are subject to various risks and uncertainties that can cause actual results to differ materially. The company disclaims any obligation to update this information in this presentation or statements contained herein. Now that I got that out of the way, over 1 billion Bitcoin ATM transactions have taken place since 2014. Let me repeat that. Over 1 billion Bitcoin ATM transactions have taken place in the United States since 2014. We need to let that sink in, as a lot of people did not even know that this industry exists. But overall, the cryptocurrency market is experiencing massive growth. Cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin have become more mainstream, and globally, there are estimated to be over 560 million users of cryptocurrency today, with approximately 15% of the US population owning cryptocurrency in some way, shape, or form. That could either be through cryptocurrencies itself or through ETFs. And the expansion of the ETF market is putting more of an emphasis on cryptocurrency investing today. Now, as I said before, BULT Blockchain is one of three public companies that owns or operates Bitcoin ATMs. The difference is BULT Blockchain has a moat. BULT Blockchain owns and has the exclusive license to the only 2 Bitcoin ATM patents in existence. Now, BULT Blockchain's path to a market leader has really been fourfold. First, we obtained the rights to the 2 Bitcoin ATM patents. Currently, we're seeking licensing agreements with both manufacturers and operators. Number 3, we are embarking on an aggressive deployment schedule of Bitcoin ATMs. With that scale, we're going to use that as leverage for additional businesses and revenue streams across our network. Now, we believe our intellectual property is our differentiator and competitive advantage in this industry. As the only Bitcoin ATM company that has patents on such the device, we believe that nearly every Bitcoin ATM operator and manufacturer that we have examined in North America is violating our patents and should be paying us a royalty. Not only since 2014 for back royalties, but over the next 10 to 15 years in the life of our patents. Overall, the cryptocurrency market represents a $3.3 trillion industry, and it's only growing. Bitcoin has a $2 trillion market cap. Now, by comparison, gold currently has a $23 trillion market cap. And we've heard these comparisons before, but if Bitcoin were to trade at parity with gold, then Bitcoin would be valued at over $1 million per coin. We are Bitcoin bulls. Now, BULT has focused on 4 segments for generating revenue. First, licensing agreements to receive royalties on our intellectual property. Bitcoin ATM operations, which generate transactional fees and profits by selling our Bitcoin inventory. Being able to drive transactions through marketing and data insights. And future revenue streams by generating transactional fees from value-added payment and banking services. BULT has the means and the motivation to aggressively protect its intellectual property. We believe, or we have identified numerous companies that we believe are violating our patents, and we're prepared to vigorously defend our patent portfolio. Our ATM growth has been substantial to date. We've gone from 0 Bitcoin ATMs just a few years ago to 200 Bitcoin ATMs currently in our portfolio in less than an 18-month time period. We continue to see opportunities in the marketplace to acquire smaller ATM operators and strategically deploy additional Bitcoin ATMs in high traffic locations. At BULT, we've put an emphasis on DeFi and Web3 transactions that can be implemented through our hardware and our back-end software. We believe that this represents a significant opportunity to add meaningful revenue streams to BULT blockchain in the future. Now, we remain very bullish on the future of BULT blockchain. As I said before, over 1 billion Bitcoin ATM transactions have taken place in the United States since 2014. We believe that there could be at least another billion, maybe even 2 billion transactions that will take place through Bitcoin ATMs over the next 10 to 15 years or during the life of our patents. Now, this represents a significant opportunity for BULT blockchain to monetize revenue streams through its intellectual property. Now, we remain available for additional information. If you want to reach out to us, we're happy to speak to you one-on-one. But I think right now that's my presentation so far. If there's any questions, I can address those questions. So the first question I have is, what is my prediction for Bitcoin price in the next 2 years? Well, during the past couple of years, we've seen exponential growth, and that growth usually dovetails into when a halving happens. And the halving is when the rewards for the Bitcoin miners gets cut in half. So there creates an additional reduction in supply coming to market, and with demand increasing and a supply decreasing over time, the price has exponentially gone higher. We've seen Bitcoin go from 20,000 just a few, less than 2 years ago to over 110,000 today. If the trends remain the same, we could easily see Bitcoin in the 250,000 to 300,000 over the next 2 years. Now that's just my opinion, but I think we remain bullish on the price of Bitcoin. Another question I have is, what is your revenue model, and do you have any projections for 2025? So our projections for 2025 are in the works, and we are modifying those. We believe we'll be coming out with some additional announcements that can put the marketplace on notice on where we're going to forecast the end of the year. So we would expect over the next quarter, we would expect over the next month to update the marketplace on our projections for year end. But year over year, we've seen an increase in our revenue, our top line revenue, but we would expect to increase our revenues year over year. We have a model, we have a question here coming in. How many ATMs do you currently deploy and your targets for 2026? So right now, we currently have 200 Bitcoin ATMs. We are deploying constantly on a monthly basis to new locations. We will update the market probably in the next month after our second quarter is reported. But we have a goal of being at anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 Bitcoin ATMs is really where our target is going. So how long it takes us to get there is really the question. And I think, if we continue on our current trajectory, that we should start to hit that hockey stick of growth fairly soon. But we will be updating the marketplace in that for the next in the next month after our second quarter is reported. Another question we have here is, how is the ATM competitive in the market with phone apps and chips being inserted into the human body? Amazon has a scanner for biometrics already. Well, I would separate that question is with phone apps. So I get a question a lot is why Bitcoin ATM? Now, the Bitcoin ATM provides a lot of convenience, and most of these Bitcoin ATMs are in convenience stores and gas stations, and so it's easy for a customer to go insert their cash and have Bitcoin immediately delivered to them. So at the end of the day, we think that there is an opportunity for people to use Bitcoin ATMs because of the convenience, because of expediency, and timing. So if you want to wire money in to your exchange account, well, you can't really do that on a Saturday or Sunday. So having that immediacy where you can go to a Bitcoin ATM and have your transaction done virtually in minutes is a convenience, and people pay for that convenience. I have another question here. Where are Bitcoin ATMs typically located? Our primary locations are at convenience stores or C-stores or gas stations. 24-hour locations is where we prefer. We do a lot of, there are some in vape stores or other smaller market like liquor stores, but usually where consumers have the ability to go in on a 24-hour basis, go in, they grab some soda, they grab some things while they're getting gas, and at that point in time, they do, purchase, Bitcoin. Here's another question is, can BULT's technology be overlaid into already existing ATM machines or new machines necessary at each location. So we are a true Bitcoin ATM company. So we don't do cash out. Our typical customer goes to our Bitcoin ATM, they put cash into the machine, and our software sends the Bitcoin to their wallet. Now, we do have a small percentage of customers that do sell us Bitcoin and take cash out of our machines. So the regular ATM or the legacy ATM, we believe, is a dying business. And most people aren't going to be using these machines in the foreseeable future. So it really doesn't help us to cross over into their business, but the existing ATM machines are trying to cross over into our business. Because of that, our patents still are a moat. So the old ATM machines, our legacy machines, they would need to upgrade their hardware and their infrastructure to do what we do. But our barrier to entry would be our patent portfolio. So if they want to get into our business, they're going to have to come to us for permission. Looking for more questions. How do you see your revenue breaking out between IP licensing and your own machines network? That's a good question. I do believe that our licensing is going to increase over time. So ultimately, when we start enforcing our patents, there's going to be a few opportunities for these Bitcoin ATM operators to come to us for some licensing deals and to really provide a stable amount of income for us on the IP revenue stream. Once that takes place, at least we would have a barrier to entry from larger companies, such as money center banks, to get into our business. So I do think that it is very important for us to address the IP licensing market and be able to come to some sort of agreement with the marketplace for licensing agreements. So we're very bullish on these opportunities. But the bread and butter of our business is going to be the Bitcoin ATM transactions. That's where we're going to see the most top end number, the highest number on our revenue stream, and our highest profit margins, if you will, to the bottom line. Here's another question: is you mentioned 200 crypto ATMs operational. Are these wholly owned by BULT, or are they through some partnerships? These are owned by BULT blockchain. These are our assets on our books, and we're looking to acquire more. So we believe we will end the year at a much higher number, and then we got to deploy those machines and create additional revenue streams accordingly. Another question I have here is, have we thought about placing some ATMs outside casinos and airports? Casinos and airports are really high on our priority list. We are working to implement this. There are some barriers to entry, so we are working through those barriers, and we hope to have some positive news later this year on this subject itself. Have some additional questions here, bear with me. In which states are your Bitcoin ATMs currently operational? Right now, we are in Florida, we are in Pennsylvania, Indiana, South Carolina. We were in Tennessee. We're looking to expand back into Tennessee. We do have, through our partnerships, we own Bitcoin ATMs that are operated in both Alabama and Georgia. And we are looking to expand into about 22 states. So we do have an aggressive expansion um, uh, plan. Here's another question. Have you thought about placing Bitcoin ATMs at colleges and universities? We are in we are in cities with colleges and universities. We are in Indiana, very close to South Bend. We operations close to Augusta. We are in South Florida. We are expanding to those areas. So I do think the younger generation uh, is very crypto friendly, and they are more to be unbanked and underbanked. So I do think that demographic is our target market, and I do think there is a significant opportunity for the younger generation to use an ATM, or use a bullet Bitcoin ATM. I have another question. What's the unique value proposition versus other Bitcoin ATM machines? So we are more customer centric. We believe that our customers are not just a customer, but we want to, learn a lot about them, help them be able to, create customer loyalty. So I think we've done a good job from a customer service point of view. So I do think we do have a value proposition because our customers like that one-on-one touch. So even though someone's going to a Bitcoin ATM, if they have a problem, they can call us on the phone and get a live person on the phone. Now, if you have a problem at an exchange or an app, the likelihood of speaking to someone on the phone is virtually nil. So the value proposition is, not only do they get the immediacy and the convenience of using our Bullet Bitcoin ATM, but if there is an issue, because issues always happen, they can contact us directly and be able to, address any of their concerns or problems directly with a human being. So I think having that human touch creates customer loyalty, and we do have a very good loyal base. Another question we have is, are you open to partnerships with digital and virtual banks? So we are. We do. We are seeking partnerships, it needs to be strategic because we have a big plan to not only just be a Bitcoin ATM, but to be a banking center, whereby you can provide additional or you can execute additional services through our Bitcoin ATM. So I do think there is opportunities for us to partner with point of sale providers, virtual banks, and other providers to offer additional complementary services that work within that crypto ecosystem. So there are opportunities. We were just at the Bitcoin ATM conference in Las Vegas. We did speak to a lot of interesting projects, and we're hoping some of these will come to fruition. I have a question here. I'm in Orange County, Southern California. Make sure you get one out here because there's definitely a need. The top 1% trade it more than you think. We are looking at locations for California. We are very interested in California. We hope to be there soon. There are some regulatory issues with California. They're not really issues, there's limitations. So that has put actually a strain where people have been leaving California in the Bitcoin ATM industry rather than adding machines to the Bitcoin to California, and that's just a regulatory issue. So you have to jump through the hurdles with the state of California, but we will be in California fairly soon, we hope, and it is a market that is very important to us. have another question is, are there any plans to move the company to a larger exchange if all projections stay on track? So this is a very important question. So we are working through our auditing process, our internal auditing process. We are anticipating to, work on our PCAOB audit. We are looking forward to uplisting to the QB or QX. And at some point in the future, and this is probably a 2026 projection, but at that point in time, we think we will meet the requirements for an uplisting to the NASDAQ. It's not an easy task, so we will stage out our uplisting process. We will be going to the QB or QX. That is our first goal. And then sometime in 2026, uplisting to the NASDAQ. At that point in time, we believe we will meet the requirements. Another comment from Southern California. We will, if you want to reach out to us about where our locations, we would be happy to send you a list of our locations, and we would be happy to sign you up with an account and give you preferential pricing on Bitcoin for your participation here. Looking for additional questions. Here's an interesting question. Do I see any regulatory hurdles with the current administration? So the previous administration was very adversarial to cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin specifically. We saw a lot of litigation through the SEC, and rather than Congress or an administration putting direction, they decided to regulate through litigation. This was an unfortunate action by the previous SEC regime, in our opinion, and I do think the current administration is much more friendly to crypto, and I do believe that the biggest hurdle to an expansion of the cryptocurrency market will be the easing of banking, such as these money center banks, such as JP Morgan or Bank of America, to recommend or participate in cryptocurrencies without being fined and sanctioned by the regulatory bodies. Once this easing happens, or there's a better regulatory framework from the federal government, we believe this industry is very ripe for explosive growth, not only from an expansion of opportunities from companies, but for Bitcoin ATMs. In addition, it will even out the playing field so we know what we can and cannot do. The uncertainty is hurting the industry. But I will tell you with a great degree of certainty that companies such as Bank of America already have blockchain being implemented behind the scenes. They are already developing, and it's been in development for years, for a regime, a regulatory regime like we have here today, to ease the restrictions and allow these companies to grow and implement blockchain into their ecosystems. So with that said, I do believe that over the next few years that we will see these big money center banks getting involved with cryptocurrencies, or more involved with cryptocurrencies and cryptocurrency projects, which will, in our opinion, benefit Bullet blockchain and Bitcoin ATMs. The convenience is there, the expediency is there, and at some point in time, these big money center banks are going to get or want to get involved in our business, and we believe our moat is our intellectual property, and we believe that they'll have to come and answer to us. I think that's all the time I have for questions. I'm looking for any other questions that I may be able to address. If anyone wants to reach out to us, you can reach out to me directly, Eric at bulletblockchain.com. You can reach the company, contact at bulletblockchain.com. You can visit us on our website. You can reach out. We will try to address any questions or concerns. We are available for one-on-one meetings. I thank the audience. I thank the virtual conference for allowing us to speak here.